So, namaste, everyone. Welcome to the New Year's Mala meetup, the first ever virtual Mala meetup that Mala Collective and I have done together. So, super excited for that and to host this. And I feel very honored to be able to do that for everyone tonight and to introduce to you maybe new concepts, new ways to use and charge your mala, as well as go through some really great ways that I use every year to formulate my intention for the year to come. And then our japa mala practice. And this is ultimately the practice that we'll use and that I use really potently through as my meditation tool before I go into deeper states of meditation. It helps purify the mind, it helps create a little bit of space, and it also helps purify the heart so we can connect the two and go forward in life a little bit more succinctly in line with the heart, but the mind knows. So it's its humble servant. That's how I look at it. So for those of you that I haven't met before, if you're joining me for the first time, again, my name is Megan, and I'm an ambassador for Mala Collective, an amazing company, and I feel really blessed to be aligned with them. I'm also a yoga teacher here in Ottawa, Ontario, Canada, and I've been teaching yoga for 10 years plus. And as I mentioned, japa mala has been one of the most potent meditation tools that I've ever come across, and I am a total, I'll admit it, mala hog. I love malas. I have a whole wall of them, a little necklace holder of them. I collect them for sure. So Mala Collective and me are definitely a great fit, hence their name. And I first approached Mala Collective when I was doing the Global Seva Challenge for Off the Mat into the World and working towards raising $20,000 to support survivors of sex trafficking. And if I raised the money, I got to travel to India, meet some of the women, and see some of the projects that the money was going towards. And I approached them in inquiring about a gift that I might be able to auction off in order to raise money. And they really amazingly sent me a mala and a bracelet to auction off, and then also a mala and a bracelet for myself. And a sweet little card, and they sent me the No Strength mala. And it was the first real potent moment where I felt like someone outside of myself believed in this capability that I had to raise the money. And it was really, really meaningful. And I actually wore that No Strength mala pretty much every day for that entire year. And I'm very proud to say that I raised the money and traveled to India and supported these women, among many others. So along with that and teaching yoga, this is one of the ways that I love to introduce my students to meditation, because the monkey mind, it loves to run off, as we may have noticed every time we sit in meditation. And the japa mala practice has helped me focus. And we'll talk about that very soon. But it's a great way to again, just focus the mind, to purify, and to connect with something meaningful for you. So know that I'm connected myself to Hindu mantra, but that's not always for everyone. So you're welcome to use English or anything else that feels right for you as you practice your mantra, your japa mala. And we'll talk about that as well soon too. So I would love for us just to get started so we're all really clear and on the same page with a mala. So some of us might be a little bit newer to this practice, or maybe never done it before. Others might be doing it for a while. So this might come as just a great refresher or some really great new information for you. So I'll just pull up our little presentation. and get me out of the way. There we go. So the first thing I wanted to talk about is what is a mala. So pretty self-explanatory for some, but for others it might be new. So it's traditionally a Hindu or Buddhist prayer beads, very much like a rosary, if you've ever seen those before. And there's 108 beads on it, and this is a really sacred number in Hinduism. On the Mala Collective website, they actually talk about this when they explain mala beads as well. But one of my favorite explanations for 108 is that the thought is 1 equals our higher truth. So there's one truth to each of us as individuals. 0 is emptiness. And 8 is much like an infinity sign, so symbolizes infinity. And then in your on your mala, you have a guru bead. And some of you may have gurus or teachers that you practice with. Others might find themselves without one yet or not interested. And that's okay, because it can also represent the practice itself. So what exactly you're doing this for. Right? So the benefits, or our intentions behind the mantra that we're circulating. So if there is a specific intention that we are working with, every time we land on the guru bead at the end of 108 rounds, we're coming back to that feeling or back to that original intention. So it's a really great reminder, powerful reminder. And as I mentioned, japa mala practice, you might hear this. This is using our mala to recite the mantra, and whatever our mantra might be. So how to use your mala, and I'm going to show you this again in person so you can see me using it. But ultimately we hold it, start by holding it in our right hand, and this is because in cultural traditions, especially places like India and the Middle East, our left hand has certain connotations, like that is the hand that you use to clean yourself and wipe yourself. So we use the quote unquote clean hand, which is the right hand. And Ram Dass actually is left-handed. He's a really great spiritual teacher if you've never heard of him. And he's also left-handed, and said it was great to repattern his brain and rewire it and learn new neural pathways working with a mala with the right hand. So I encourage you to try that as well. Personally, myself, I'm not as rigid, so this isn't the culture we live in. So if you feel left-handed, it works best for you, you're welcome to do that as well. And we don't use our index finger because it's the accusatory or pointing finger. This is tradition. And all of our other fingers are fine. So any of the other 3 fingers or thumb can touch your mala. But again, traditionally, we hold it between our middle finger and our ring finger. And we use our thumbs to turn the beads. And there's this thought that just like acupressure, if you've ever heard of acupressure, there is a nerve ending on the inside, just above the knuckle of your ring finger. And it's associated to your spine, which is why we rest the mala beads on that finger. So every time it rubs that finger, we activate the energy in the Sushumna Nadi, or the central channel of our body. And we turn the bead, so the guru bead, towards us as we're turning. So we hold it to the inside of our hand to start. And as I mentioned before, we stop at the guru bead after 108 circulations of the mantra, and we're reminded of our intention, our guru, or the practice itself. So you can see that down there. So benefits of a mala. Well, there's no real proven benefits. As I said, for me, it's been a really important tool to help me focus my mind. Other than that, it really becomes kind of like a tactile tool or component. And it just keeps us aware of the movement within the hand. So it keeps us present into the moment. Potentially, especially if we're new to mantra meditation, we might lose count or become really mechanical or routine in our recitation of this mantra. And eventually, especially as we start to work deeper and deeper and deeper into it, and maybe do 3 or 4 or 5 rounds rather than just one. And we want to avoid that because it's the same with asana practice. We don't want to get mechanical or rigid or routine in anything. Changing it up is good. And making sure that we don't lose count and that we stay focused is also important as well, because 108 is a sacred number and we've chosen that very purposefully. And back to Ram Dass, he says, bead by bead, it's this like steps of a ladder walking you straight to Brahman. And Brahman is that universal consciousness. Sometimes he's referred to as Shiva and so on, or Krishna. In the yoga tradition, in the Hindu tradition, it's the God really of your own understanding, or the divine within yourself. So it doesn't matter what you're walking towards. You can practice in any tradition this way. So this is one of my favorite things to do every time I purchase a new mala, is to charge it. So you'll see, and it's super lovely, one of the things Mala Collective has done is started to change up the malas a little bit. So they used to be all Rudraksha beads. Now we have some that are a little bit different styles, less Rudraksha, more gem. And Rudraksha is and can be a little rough. So after you cleanse, whether it's a gem or Rudraksha or both, you can cleanse it in purified water. I like to cleanse mine in water that I've put out into the full moon, and it supercharges it. And then you can just rub your hands over it and gently clean it. Rudraksha is really nice, as I say there, with oils too. So a little coconut oil, really light oil, and not a lot at all. And you just kind of rub it over the beads, and that way it's not so rough on the hands, depending on how raw they really are and the process they go through before becoming a mala, depending on the company. And second of all, when we obtain a mala, we want to know the meaning of the stone. So whether you're gifted with one or you've chosen one for yourself, we want to know the meaning of it so that we can start to meditate on why it's been brought into our lives or why we've chosen it. So why it's been gifted to us, maybe we found it, whatever. But if we want to know the meaning of the stone, so we can activate it with a mantra to reflect its offerings. So I'll show you very soon, but the mantra that I use, and we talk about this later, with my no strength mala is the Ganesha mantra. And Ganesh as an elephant head, it was really a strong and powerful reminder for me, hence the no strength, as well as those were the intentions and the meaning behind the stones that are on that mala. And then my teacher, so there's many different variations, but my teacher, when I was gifted with my mala from him upon graduation of one of my 200-hour trainings, his philosophy, his teaching is that we circulate this mantra with this very specific mala once a day for 40 days to charge it. And I've done that every single time with my malas, and I've personally felt an energetic difference. And I don't wear them until they're fully charged, so until those 40 days are up. And this is super cool because we're coming into the new year, which is why we're gathering here. And we have 40 days, so we have until mid-February to charge maybe a new mala that we got for Christmas, or that we've used our Christmas money to purchase if we celebrate that holiday, or maybe we just took advantage of the discount code given to you and thought it was a great time to get a new one. So with that, hopefully you picked it, you know the meaning of the stones, and then tonight you're welcome to use it with the mantra that we're using, or you can just simply hold it. And we'll talk about this later as well. And then lastly, with all my malas, what I love to do is every full moon, I place them outside and bathe them in the moonlight to keep recharging and supercharging them. And this is my own little ritual. It's totally up to you if you feel called to do something like that. It's great. Gemstones are said to get amplified in the moonlight. But that everything here and everything we do tonight is completely optional. So I'm just going to close that off. So I would love to kind of dive into why we gathered as well, about and around our New Year's intentions. And if you don't already, I really suggest that you have a pen and paper or a journal perhaps that you're working with, so that you can write down some of this stuff that's coming to you. Sorry, I just want to move this so I can see if you guys can. Yeah, so I just want to do that. And I see that there is a question. So I'm going to go ahead and let you guys ask questions about anything that's come up. Well, maybe some of us are gathering the pen and paper. Just know that if you ask a question and you want to give voice, which is what I do, you have to accept it in order to be heard. So Meredith, I'm going to go ahead and invite you to chat for a moment. And if you would prefer to just ask your question through the chat, you're more than welcome to as well. So hi Meredith, are you there?
Yes.
Namaste, I can hear you.
Okay.
So you don't have to type, you can talk out loud, hon.
Oh, I wasn't sure if my microphone was working, so
It is, it's working perfectly. Did you have a question?
I guess more of an observation. When I use my malas, I sort of recite whatever comes to mind. Are you suggesting perhaps assigning a mala to each a mantra to each mala?
Yeah, so that's not in every tradition. That's not like required. But that's the way that I practice, and that's the way that my teacher gave me instruction.
Okay.
And I quite like it because, like I said, if you have one, then of course that it's more than enough, and recite what feels appropriate and what works with that one mala. As you maybe start to collect a few others, if this is a practice that feels really good for you, really nourishing and opening, then you can start to look a little bit more into the stones, into what you're feeling, what you're calling in or looking to manifest, and then maybe work with some of the Hindu or English mantras that you like, and start to kind of assign those mantras to each mala. So I have ones like I wear specifically when I have to keep my heart open.
Sure.
If I'm going into a confrontation, for example, I wear a rose quartz mala and I kind of rub it and I'm just reminding myself of love, right? Like we go forward with compassion. I have my no strength mala, which I work with really devoutly in January and February, which we talk about soon. And so yeah, it's completely up to you, but that's worked really well for me. But it's not mandatory to buy like 100 different malas for everything that you might feel in the course of your lifetime.
Yes. Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. So hopefully we all have our journals and our pens now. And I wanted to just give you an opportunity to work with some of the ways that, as I mentioned earlier, that I help to cultivate and feel into an intention for our new year. And the thing about intentions is that it's really different than goals and resolutions. And it's different because it's a way of being. So rather than saying, I want to lose 50 pounds or I'm going to do yoga every day and putting kind of extra strain and pressure on ourselves, instead, we can set ourselves up for success by creating an intention. So this might be something we hope to put forth into the world, something we hope to feel every day as we move through our daily lives, or something that reminds us as a way to be within our lives. So I'm sharing my intention. Some of you have noticed already that you're a part of my newsletter, and I'm sharing my intention for the new year very soon with everyone. And I actually use my intention as a daily mantra. So it's my English version of this is how and I produce something in a way of being in my daily life. And I'll be sharing that with everyone really soon. And I do it every year through my life Shavasana and taking time off. Something comes to me that feels really right. And it's one thing rather than a million things. And instead of adding more to do on my to-do list in a day, it allows me and reminds me to be a certain way. And this is really the big difference between goals and intentions, or resolutions and intentions, if that makes sense for everyone. And so let's come into a really comfortable seat. We're going to just do a couple minutes of meditation before we start anything else. So make sure that you're sitting on something comfortable so that your hips are elevated, your knees can relax, and you can hold yourself in an upright seated position so your spine is long and erect and the crown of your head is open. And then rest your palms facing down on your thighs. This is really grounding energetically. And then go ahead and close your eyes. So one thing that, just like with our mala, the recitation of our mantra, why we use a mala, is to not get rigid. So one of my teachers, Shiva Ray, said it's not so much about being statue-like when we are in meditation, but just allowing your body to move with the breath. Or you might even notice that it rocks a little bit. This is really soothing for our nervous system. You might rock front to back, side to side, not big, but with just the gravitational pull, the energetic pull of that powerful universe that we're part of. So instead of resisting it, putting pressure on ourselves, we just give into it and soften around it. And what I'd like you to call into your consciousness, just pull up into the mind, is something that you'd like to let go of from this past year. So something that, or someone that you might be still holding on to, an experience, a place, a person, and that you feel it's a good time at least to take some baby steps towards letting go. Just pull that into your consciousness. And just allow it to be present. So whatever is present is present. We're not fixing or changing like our intention reminds us. It's being. So being present with perhaps the sensations or the thoughts or the feelings that arise around what you've pulled into your consciousness. One of the things that we forget in our overly, most of the time anyway, overly complicated world is that letting go can be quite simple. We can just put it down. And the way that we do our practice is the way that we do our lives. Ultimately, what is happening on the inside is a reflection of what's going on around us. So if we like to make things dramatic or complicated or hard, so as you open your eyes, I encourage you to simply write down, so place it down, what it is that you'd like to work towards or fully let go of this year. And then once you finish that, I would love for you to, you can stay on the same page or go to a fresh one. Write down your biggest three, like top three. Don't get, again, too complicated, but your top three, let's say, biggest lessons from this past year. So your biggest lessons. So sometimes you just need a change in perception, right? They're not mistakes. If we look at the bigger, grander picture of it, there's probably a beautiful lesson being given to us. So what were your three biggest lessons if you reflect back in this past year? So for example, one of my biggest lessons was learning to really let go when it was time to let go. Another one of my biggest lessons I can share is I'm always a work in progress. So try not to make it anything negative, but how can you really discover and peel away some of the layers to see how it is a beautiful lesson. And then once you have that finished, you're gonna, underneath or a fresh page again, write down your three biggest blessings. So the three most fabulous things that you are divinely proud of. So it can be like things that you're proud of, it can be blessings. They're often very connected. So your three biggest blessings from this last year. So one of the things that I can share from my three biggest blessings is that I realized in very divine pride that I can write. As I started the very first, most rough draft of a book I'm hoping to write. And another blessing was discovering what I needed in order to have follow through So I'm a very creative, visionary person. Follow through, I'd start to wane, and then endings I was never very good at. And I've found follow through and a good ending. So 3 biggest blessings. And then what we can do is use that one thing that we're letting go of, our 3 biggest lessons, and our 3 biggest gifts or blessings to create and craft an intention for the new year. So, for example, I don't try to look at things that are totally different and separate. I look at everything that's already been brought into my life that I'm already working on and with, and that energy is supporting me in manifesting. And then I create my intention. So we know what some of these lessons are, and we know what some of our blessings are. And we also know what we want to let go of. So as we meld those 3 together, we can step into a new way of being. So maybe we look at all these things and we notice we have to be slightly more forgiving. Maybe it's more loving, self-loving. Maybe it's more compassionate. But remembering that our intention is a way of being. It's what keeps us present and grounded in that days. And we create that intention to help support what it is that we want to continue to cultivate into our lives, to invite in. So once again, I invite you to just read over what it is that you wrote, and then come back into your meditative seat with your palms resting down, and then close your eyes. And a lot of the time, our intention, I've noticed anyway, comes from the heart. So rather than thinking about it, allow whatever is present to be present. And based on what you wrote down, the blessings and the lessons and the things that you want to let go of, feel into the guru of your heart and allow it to provide you with an intention for this new year. And if it comes to you, feel free to write it down. It might be in the form of a feeling or words, even a thought, or perhaps even a color or sensation. And as you open your eyes, know that if it didn't come to you in this moment or the next, that it will. So as you continue to practice and sit and listen to the heart, sometimes that takes a lot of practice, a lot of discipline. That intention will arise for you. And one of the things I forgot to mention at the very beginning of this webinar is that I have a very sweet and loving, adorable fur baby who is an English bulldog. Her name is Lola. So if you hear any rumbling, other people have thought it was a cow mooing. That would be Lola snoring. So hopefully it's not too distracting, but I wanted to be in my sacred space, and she sleeps on the couch. So the very last piece of this gathering is coming into, it is soothing, Sherry, thank you. It's soothing for me too. So it's not me snoring or breathing deeply. The very last piece I wanted to share is our japa mala. So as I mentioned before, this is Ganesh. I know he's kind of dark, but he's actually right here too. Maybe this one will be a little better. He's my homeboy, Ganesh. He's my homeboy, I call him. So that's Ganesh. And Ganesh is a deity in Hinduism, a Hindu god. And as I always remind my students, when we, and for myself as well, when we chant to deities or to gods or goddesses, it's not a projection of something or onto something outside of ourselves, but as a powerful reminder that what they are, how their qualities of energy are actually part of who we are. So it's just invoking these parts of who we are. And traditionally, Ganesh, probably most of you know, is the remover of obstacles. What a lot of people forget to talk about too is he's also the placer. So depending on our karma, he'll remove or place obstacles in order to support us in our growth or evolution. So sometimes we need to be given things in order to grow. And these are our lessons, as we've just discovered. And those lessons are blessings eventually as well. As we've seen, as we shift the perception and understand that it's not bad or wrong, but that we've learned and hopefully grown from it. And he's also the deity that we call on for new beginnings. So in the new year, this is most appropriate that we work with Ganesh. And so Ganesh, as I mentioned before, has an elephant face. And this is representative or symbolic of Atman. So Atman is our individual consciousness, divinity, or soul, or our soul. And then he has a person's body, and there's a whole big story about that I won't go into today. But he has a human body, and that's a reminder of our earthly existence. So as householders, I know there's some men that were signed up, so I don't want to say women, but as householder practitioners, the practice of yoga and meditation is allowing us to become more awakened and vibrant and alive in the world. So we're not removing ourselves, we're not going to a cave, but becoming more in the world, but still grounded and centered in our own divine truth, or Atman, soul. And then in one of the hands, he holds a goad, and the goad is the remover of obstacles. So that's what he uses. And in the other hand, he holds a noose, kind of like a lasso, a little noose. And that actually removes any hindrances in realizing and manifesting what it is that we're inviting into our lives. So he is quite powerful. And as a reminder, we have that power within us as well. So as we create our intentions, the more we look into our sankalpa or our highest truth, the easier it is for us to filter out what doesn't work. So we kind of start just naturally, organically avoiding, in the best sense, avoiding that doesn't fit into our truth, our lives, our highest divine will, our dharma. And we just filter it out. So it just gets filtered out for us. So we have the ability to remove the obstacles the more conscious that we are. So I'm going to remove, I use Ganesh to hold my Gnome Strength Mala. And this is mostly the Rudraksha bead, as I mentioned. And I'll just show you. So if you don't have a mala, you're going to sit and just absorb the energy and the sound of it. And it's totally okay because I'll be keeping count. If you do have a mala and you haven't charged it yet, and you're not wanting to work with Ganesh, maybe with that mala, if you're choosing to use the mala, so one mantra per mala, like we talked about earlier, then feel free to cup it in your right hand so that the tassel comes off the side. You'll bring your left hand underneath, so like a sweet little lotus bowl, and you'll let it rest in the lap. And then if you're using a mala, you don't mind circulating. Again, I'll just come in. So as I mentioned, our first finger is always free. For me, my baby finger too, it's my surfer beach bum side. And then we hook it right on to the inside of the ring finger so that the tassel or the guru bead is on the inside. And then our middle finger is going to touch the first bead, so the very first bead. And we circulate it so that if you see the tassel here, we circulate it using the thumb. So we pull it down and the tassel starts to lower. And each bead is one repetition of the mantra. So, as I mentioned, invoking Ganesh, his mantra is Om Gang Ganapataye Namaha. So to make it a little bit more relatable, I always say Om. So this is the sacred sound of the universe. So we invoke that energy. It's getting warm here in Canada. It's a little cool. Gang is the secret power sound, also called a bija mantra. Ganapataye is just another name for Ganesh. And Namaha is like a, yo, what's up? Or a salutations. Are you around? Can you support me in this moment? So we try to leave our mala beads off the ground. You can let it hang. Again, I like to cut mine in the left hand, and then I let my left hand rest against my lap, or my bottom top foot, excuse me. And then the tassel is the inside, and our fingers are on the first bead. So not the guru bead, the first bead. And I like to bring it quite close to my heart. And again, this is one of my teachers, Shiva Ray, calls this deer mudra. So it's a great way to hold or think about little deer horns. So we're going to come into our japa mala practice. So we get comfortable, sit up tall so that energy can move. And we're going to recite his mantra, so the Ganesh mantra, 108 times, so the full mala. So let's go ahead and close our eyes. Again, just allow your body to, not distractingly, but move by swaying side to side or front to back if that feels right for you. Let's take a deep breath in together and exhale fully. Breathing in halfway, we'll begin. Om Gang Ganapataye Namaha. 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 Without opening the eyes or moving, so allow yourself to sit comfortably and rest in the vibrations, rest in the power and the energy of the mantra. Allow your mala to coil up into the left hand. Bring your palms together. And we bring our thumbs to the third eye and silently or out loud repeat, "May I know my truth." And then to the mouth, the thumbs come down and we repeat, "May I speak my truth." And to the heart in Anjali Mudra, "May I live my truth." And we'll bring our chin to our chest, and as you open your eyes, just allow this gesture to be a reminder that the practice of yoga is bigger than just your physical body. You can lift the gaze. Welcome back. So we have just a few more minutes, as I don't like to keep anyone's time, but I would like to open it up first and foremost to Mala Collective. I believe it's Rachel. So I would love to give Rachel a voice. So it's such an honor that you guys came. I'm really happy. So Rachel, you just have to accept in case you missed that part. Okay. So anyone else have any questions or anything that came up for them that they would like to share with the community, whether it's typing it or, again, voicing yourselves? I love hearing you. We have women from the UK here, China, France, Hopefully they understood me okay, and all over Canada and the United States. I'm just making sure that there's any questions. All right, so Chelsea, hi, come on in. Let's take one or two before we close this session. Hello.
I'm a little under the weather.
Sorry, Chelsea. Taking your voice back. There was a lot of feedback, love. Oh, you're under the weather. That's too bad. So anyone else like to voice themselves or have any questions? If it doesn't come, what I wanted to say as well is if your intention didn't come up earlier, using your mala and the Ganesh mantra is a really great way to remove any obstacles in discovering it as well. And then sitting for longer periods as you're ready and comfortable in meditation afterwards, and listening into your heart and your soul for what it is that you're asking the question about, or how you want to remove the obstacles, for example, is so important. So to close, I just wanted to let each and every of you know that you will be receiving this recording as well in an email, along with the little presentation of slides that I showed you earlier. So you have a mini little booklet that you can use and refer to charge your malas, for example, if you'd like, or how to use it if you still haven't received your first one and this felt good and something that you'd want to try and do again. And lastly, I wanted to share as well really quickly that on my website, megancampbell.ca, there is an online ashram link. And underneath that, once you click on it, these are all my complimentary offerings. And you'll see the second option are my podcasts, and it'll take you to my podcast page as well. And on that, you'll find a complimentary Sankalpa Vinyasa practice you can do from anywhere like home. And this is an amazing practice to support you in further discovering your Dharma, your Sankalpa, and even your intention for this year. And it's an asana practice. But you can follow up with this mantra as well to make it a whole, full-bodied practice. So that's first and foremost. Lastly, you can also find, if you have lost it or misplaced it, you can find on that same page, the online ashram, my community page, and my discount code for the Mala Collective malas is on there as well. So you can find that anytime that you would like to go back in and find some new gems for your new intention, perhaps for each year, for example, which is a great idea. And then very lastly, when this ends, you'll be taken right to the Mala Collective site. And I thank you so much for joining us today, whether you are present or not, as we gather live or virtually. It's a collective intention and power to gather, to understand, to go deeper into our practice and have the tools in order to do that. So my deepest and most humble pranams to each and every one of you for joining me tonight. And I hope to connect with you in another way that feels right for you on or off the mat very soon. Namaste.